In the small town of Hampton, New Hampshire, serenity ruled over the rhythmic lullaby of the ocean waves and the sporadic cawing of distant seagulls. The quaint homes that clustered around the police station, the heart of this community, hummed with the whispers of everyday life. Detective Edward Nolan found his solace amidst this orchestrated symphony of routine. A seasoned officer of the law, he was a sturdy pillar in the sea-brush tableau, as immovable as the granite rocks upon the beach. A tall man with graying temples, his eyes retained the gleam of the young, ambitious officer he once was. Edward was a man of few words, comfortable with the silence of his own thoughts. Yet beneath his calm demeanor, there rested a tempest of ambition, clashing against the towering cliffs of his fear of heights. These two forces, like a pair of ill-matched dance partners, spun within him, giving him a quiet intensity that was hard to ignore. One early morning found him in the sterile confines of the Hampton police station, the smell of freshly brewed coffee mingling with the musty scent of old paperwork. A teetering pile of new reports, unassuming in their printed ordinariness, held his attention. Smuggling Ed, Sergeant Gray, a bulky man with a bushy mustache, grumbled, setting a cup of coffee by Edward's elbow. His voice rumbled through the room, each word laced with concern and frustration. Edward glanced at the sergeant, nodding appreciatively, his fingers sifting through the pile. A constellation of illegal activities mapped out across Hampton. Smuggled goods, midnight shipments, hushed whispers of illicit dealings. Patterns like hidden hieroglyphs began to emerge from the chaos. "There's more than meets the eye, Gray," Edward murmured, the glimmer in his eyes sparked by intrigue. "It's as if someone's orchestrating the tune to which the town dances." His gaze, no longer on the sheets before him, now saw through the walls of the station, across the town. It was as if he could peel back the layers of this picturesque hamlet, revealing the dark secrets it housed. And beneath that everyday normalcy, something stirred, a lurking dread that twisted the tranquility of Hampton into a grotesque mask. He rose abruptly, knocking over the coffee. His chair scraped the floor, shattering the room's quiet rhythm. But his attention was elsewhere, his mind entwined with Hampton's hidden mysteries. "Then let's find the puppeteer, Ed," Gray said with a determined nod, cleaning the spilled coffee. The older man didn't know the depth of the investigation he was agreeing to embark on, nor did Edward, but they were now on a path leading them away from the familiar reality of Hampton towards an unseen precipice. As the day bowed out, replaced by the advancing cloak of the night, Edward found himself staring out of his office window towards the Hampton lighthouse. Its beam punctured the darkness, a lonely watchman of the night, an unwitting symbol of the journey he was about to undertake. Little did he know that the lighthouse would hold a significant trial, one that would test his deepest fear and his burning ambition in a terrifying ballet. He couldn't shake off a creeping sensation that the town was not the same as it had been in the morning. The seaside hamlet that he thought he knew was transforming, evolving under the weight of its secrets. Its deceptive dance was ending, and the real performance, one of cosmic dimensions, was about to begin. As he sank into his chair, the overwhelming sense of quiet before a storm filled him. The scene was set, the puppeteer waiting in the shadows. He could not see it yet, but he could feel it. The prelude to a mysterious occurrence had begun. The churning waters of the Hampton coast held a deceitful calm. This mirrored the unfolding labyrinth Edward found himself descending into, unearthing the secrets the town harbored beneath the ebb and flow of its everyday monotony. The following days were a foray into a clandestine world, a tangling network of shadows he persistently tracked with the unwavering resolve of a bloodhound. He started mapping a complex constellation of underhand dealings that traced through the heart of the town. It was a confounding tapestry woven with frayed threads of corruption, each lead uncoiling into another, a serpentine network of disorder. His dialogue with Gray grew more earnest, more frequent. Gray's office, once a testament to stale coffee and older files, turned into a war room with diagrams and photographs strewn across its expanse. "There's a rhythm here," Edward said, his voice dipping to an almost reverential whisper. He traced a line connecting several dock workers to a string of suspicious nighttime deliveries. His fingers hovered over a picture of the lighthouse, a structure he'd come to view with a sense of creeping dread. A method behind the madness. Gray, weathered lines deepening on his forehead, glanced at him. There was an unfamiliar fire in the younger detective's eyes, a fervor that bridged the unsettling and the captivating. Edward's days were consumed by his relentless pursuit, each clue a breadcrumb leading him further into the labyrinth. His dreams, when sleep reluctantly claimed him, were punctuated with visions of the lighthouse looming over him like an oppressive sentinel. He could feel the void of height pulling him in, echoing his past trauma. It was a test, he understood, a trial of his fear against his ambition. One cold evening found him confronting his fear at the lighthouse, its towering silhouette a mocking testament to his phobia. He ascended the winding staircase, each step a protest against his instinctual terror. As he reached the pinnacle, the world spun around him, an overwhelming panorama of twinkling lights and hushed waters. The vertigo was paralyzing, the height a chasm ready to swallow him, but he persevered, his ambition the fuel that stoked his courage. Upon descending, he was a man reborn, each shaky breath a symbol of his unwilling surrender to fear. His ambition had won the day, but the encounter left a deep-seated unease. The terror of heights he grappled with was replaced by a different fear, an existential dread. He'd glimpsed a darkness in Hampton that loomed larger than any physical height. He returned to the station, a certain wildness to his gait. The quiet seaside town he once knew had been replaced by a stage set for an unfolding drama of cosmic proportions. The rhythm had evolved into a symphony, a cosmic waltz with him as an unwitting participant. He was no longer just tracing shadows, he was tracing the outline of a monstrous entity, an insidious puppeteer behind the stage. The revelation would hit him soon, a discordant note in the cosmic symphony, a shadow lurking at the edge of his consciousness. Unseen strings were being pulled, and he was dancing to a tune composed in the stars. As he slumped into his chair at the station, the realization that the puppeteer might not be of this world simmered beneath his surface thoughts. His gaze drifted to the haunting silhouette of the lighthouse against the backdrop of the moonlit sea, an echo of a fear overcome and a herald of terrors yet to unfold. He was standing at the precipice of understanding, the next phase of his dance with the shadows about to commence. The town of Hampton, once a canvas of comforting normalcy, had shifted into a panorama of the extraordinary. As Edward uncovered the intricate tapestry of corruption, he felt a sense of vertigo that dwarfed his fear of heights. It was an abyss of cosmic dimensions, an existential chasm that threatened to swallow him and his beliefs whole. It came as a twist of fate, a gnarled root on his path that caused him to stumble upon the truth. The smugglers he pursued had been trailing him as well, their actions a bizarre dance to his own tune. His every move seemed to be reflected in the uncanny symmetry of their operations. It was as though he was entwined in an elaborate dance, his strings pulled by unseen hands. A late-night meeting with Sergeant Gray saw Edward confessing his realization. His words hung heavy in the dim-lit office, the dread seeping into the worn wooden walls and the very air they breathed. "Gray," he began, his voice faltering, "it's us they're mirroring. We're not just observers in this dance. We are the dance." Gray's eyebrows nodded, his concern replaced by a dawning apprehension. Edward's words felt like a chilling draft, an unseen specter passing through the room. The fear in the younger detective's eyes mirrored his own. "Then who?" Gray swallowed, his voice barely a whisper. "Who is the puppeteer, Ed?" He could offer no reply. His mind was a battleground of horror and disbelief. He had caught a glimpse of the puppeteer, not a figure carved from human corruption, but a cosmic entity beyond their understanding. Its existence was the chilling realization that they were not the masters of their own dance, but mere marionettes in an unimaginable theater of the cosmos. The days that followed were fraught with a silent tension. He couldn't shake off the sense of unseen eyes upon him, the town of Hampton a voyeuristic stage under a celestial audience. The everyday banality had morphed into a surreal pantomime, the cosmic horror of their situation seeping into every nook and corner. The lighthouse, once a beacon of maritime safety, stood now as a grim reminder of his past fears and his current dread. His fear of heights paled before the cosmic terror that the lighthouse represented. It was not just a towering structure of bricks and light, but a metaphysical monument to the unseen terror that loomed over Hampton. In a world where he thought he knew the rules, he now felt like a novice, stumbling in the dark. Yet despite the dread, a sense of grim determination settled within him. He was still the detective, still the pillar amidst the storm. His optimism, like a lighthouse in the tempest, guided him through this newfound reality. He returned home, every creaking step up his apartment stairs a mocking echo of his journey thus far. The puppeteer, although unseen, had made its presence known. It was not a comforting thought, but a galvanizing one. He was no longer just a detective, but a participant in a cosmic drama, an unwitting actor cast in a celestial play. He found himself on the precipice of a daunting escape. The puppeteer had been revealed, its cosmic strings entangled with his life. A daunting task lay before him. To disentangle himself was to dance one final, harrowing waltz with the cosmic puppeteer. The final act of his journey was about to commence. Edward Nolan, once a steadfast sentinel in the face of mundane crime, now stood at the edge of an abyss that stretched into the infinite. The cosmic puppeteer had drawn back the curtain, revealing the true stage upon which he performed his dutiful dance. His world was but a drop in the vast cosmic ocean, his actions influenced by forces far beyond his comprehension. His ambition, once a fiery drive for career advancement, now became the flame that illuminated his path through the shadowy maze of cosmic dread. He was no longer chasing smugglers or navigating the politics of the police station. He was charting a course through the murky waters of existential horror, seeking an escape that seemed as elusive as a mirage. In the heart of his quiet apartment, he pored over the cryptic patterns of the smuggling operations once more. Each symbol, each clandestine meeting, took on a new, more terrifying significance. The mysterious occurrences around the town of Hampton were not the products of human corruption, but the whims of an unseen cosmic entity. Each revelation felt like another step into an unwelcome unknown, an otherworldly nightmare that extended beyond the boundaries of his reality. "I see it now," he said, his voice barely a whisper against the oppressive silence of his room. "We're part of something bigger, something cosmic. We're not leading, we're being led." An impromptu meeting with Gray followed. The late-night rendezvous was not held in the familiar confines of the police station, but in the ominous darkness of the lighthouse. The beacon cast long, spectral shadows, adding an eerie illumination to their grave conversation. "Gray?" Edward's voice was a thin line of resolve against the roar of the ocean waves. "I'm stepping off this stage." The words hung in the air, a testament to his will against the cosmic puppeteer. He had taken on the mantle of an unwilling actor, but the next steps were his to choreograph. It was a silent challenge, a defiant stand against the unknowable entity that had so far dictated the rhythm of his life. The days that followed were filled with an uncanny calm, the quiet before the storm. He could feel the puppeteer's unseen gaze upon him, a spectator awaiting his next move. But this time, he was ready to face the dance. His fears, both of heights and of cosmic dread, were overshadowed by his determination. He made his move, a calculated misstep in the cosmic waltz. He turned the rhythm against the puppeteer, using the smuggler's operations to signal his intent. He was no longer a puppet, but a dancer moving to his own beat. His escape was not a victorious sprint, but a slow, painstaking shuffle. Each day was another move, another step away from the cosmic strings that sought to control him. It was an exhausting ballet, his actions under constant scrutiny from the unseen puppeteer. The final act unraveled at the lighthouse, the symbolic epicenter of his cosmic dread. He climbed its towering height, not out of fear but in defiance. As he reached the pinnacle, he sent out a signal, a beacon of his resolve, disrupting the cosmic dance he had been an unwilling participant in. As he descended, he felt an unsettling calm, a disconcerting sense of being momentarily cut from the puppeteer's strings. But the feeling was fleeting, a transient breath of freedom that was quickly replaced by the lingering dread of the cosmic. He had made his move, and had signaled his intent to escape. But the dance was far from over. His journey ended with an uncertain escape. He had tasted a transient victory and had defied the puppeteer. But he knew the cosmic horror that loomed over Hampton was far from over. His story was but one act in a cosmic drama that continued to unfold in the shadows of everyday life. The puppeteer still loomed, its cosmic strings cast far and wide, ready to ensnare those who danced unaware. But he knew that he had made his stand. He would continue the dance, but on his terms, his every step a testament to his unwavering resolve against the cosmic dread that sought to claim him. His tale ended with an escape, not complete, but enough to fuel the flames of his ambition and sustain his brave, quiet optimism in the face of cosmic terror. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, like it and subscribe to our channel, where you can find more similar stories, and click on the bell icon to never miss one. There is plenty more cosmic horror to come from the Eldritch Tales Factory. Stay tuned, and until next time.